Yeah, no,
That's
he'd
true.
want you recording it, but no chicks watch this. Oh,
I
hey, I
know.
was just
That's
playing. I
true.
was playing. Here's my TR. I was playing Princess with my niece.
Nobody
Here,
does watch
fill up the
this.
chicks filling up the inbox all day on that.
Dom, I was just saying Jamie hopped in the room, but then by the time I went to go admit him, he was gone again. So I don't know what is
Okay.
what's up.
Hang on, I'm trying to grab a beer here.
You're good.
Attaboy.
Brent, you would be happy today. We're talking just about rabbit holes, right? Today I got into a rabbit hole on YouTube. I found some Springfield Punisher 11-man semi-pro football footage.
Who's that?
When did that even happen? See, I missed that.
They played. Oh, here he is. They played like 2 or 3 games this year.
This year?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't recognize a name. I don't recognize a face. But it's Terry Smith.
There's one you recognize.
Well, yeah. I mean, I never met him though, so I don't know who.
Still grinding.
Yeah, I've only seen him in like from afar and stuff, so I've never actually met him. But yeah, they're playing. They look terrible. They're terrible.
Well, he was the one that ran that Springfield Tigers team.
I know, but I don't even know if he was at that game. I couldn't pick him out of a lineup. Like I wouldn't know who he is.
He doesn't really exist. He's like he's in the ether.
Uh-oh.
Jamie Ford.
Jamie Ford.
Oh man.
Wearing the Chicago Bulls t-shirt, man. Looking like Horace Grant in the day without the glasses, bro.
Man.
Mr.
Buffalo
Ford,
Bills
man.
shirt on.
It's good to see you, man. Congratulations, dude. Very, very happy for you. Very proud of you. That's an awesome accomplishment for a guy who played seemingly 85 years of semi-pro football.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Means a lot coming from you.
Well, I appreciate that, man. We joked about it. We always kind of talk about age and stuff. I feel like Jamie Ford, you were like 35 years old for 15 years when we were playing ball. You would never tell us how old you were. We always felt like you were way older, and we found out you weren't.
For like 10 years.
He didn't. That's true. He didn't age for like 15. All of those 15 years, he didn't age. He looked the same. So
yeah.
My first season with Jamie Ford, I think, was 2000, and I don't know how old Jamie Ford is. So,
hey, I'm right now. I'm 50.
No. Me too.
Okay.
No. Class of '91, baby. That was me.
I did not.
But see, that's the running joke. You guys were always. We always felt like you, and that's because you guys were vets. Because like, what year did you start playing semi-pro, Jamie?
Right after I got out of high school.
Okay.
Yeah, I played with the Sangamo Express.
Man.
Okay.
Now, and that was the year that I must not have played, Jamie. I mean, unless we maybe did. I don't remember. I don't remember anybody from there but Tom Gaskins, Craig Witz. That's it.
Yeah.
The 2 guys I worked with in the kitchen at the Barrelhead.
Yeah, Sangamo Express is when I first started.
Yeah. Was that their original season?
Huh?
Was that their original season? The very first season of the Express was
Yeah, we played in that old crappy field by Landfair.
We got some footage of that. There's some footage we got to send to about this game. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Brent. Sorry.
As you say, that begs the question: were you there for the Danny Womack game where he scored every time he touched the ball and we beat the Louisville Bulls?
Yep.
Okay. So Jamie and I played together and didn't even know each other. That's a true story. Until the $2,000. Honest to God, I would have never known that Jamie and I played together because I've never gotten a hold of a roster from the Sangamo Express that year.
It's got to be out there somewhere.
Sounds like there was a lot of talent on that team.
Yeah, but we talked about it though. I mean, you guys have talked about it, and Jamie, we've talked about the Sangamo Express a bunch. I don't know if I've ever heard you mention who the coach of that team was.
Yeah.
Like who was?
I can't even remember.
Craig mentioned it. Craig mentioned it last week. It was Coach Hibbler.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hibbler, right?
Yeah. He passed away.
I didn't know that.
Oh man,
I did not
That's
know
too
that.
bad.
Jamie, you might not have watched last week's episode. If I find my phone real quick, I got
you. Uh-oh.
How are you wearing a Bull shirt? I thought for sure you'd come on with a Buffalo Bills t-shirt.
Hey.
Come on now.
Kansas City, hey.
Jamie, you're a Bills fan?
Oh boy.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I got some buddies who are pretty hardcore Buffalo fans, and I always joke with them when the because the Bears are terrible, right? Like, let's just be honest.
They won't be now.
I'm gonna wait until I see it with my own eyes, Jamie. But I always say is that if that Buffalo bandwagon's available, man, I'm hopping on because that's a fun team to watch.
There you go, Jamie. Remember that? That was a bad helmet logo. Everybody else saw it last week.
Yeah,
but there it is, man.
Yeah, there it is.
Craig Witz was on last week, and he was the center on that team when Bill Shelton would play in center, and he still has some of those decals, which they were amazing.
How in the hell he keep all that stuff?
I have no idea. No idea.
Well, hey, hold on. You wore 83 because of Andre Reed too, right? Wasn't that the deal?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, I don't think I ever knew that.
Yeah. Oh, believe me, I heard about Buffalo all the time back in the day. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Andre Reed. He was my favorite and still is my favorite.
He was a dude.
Yeah. He was a dude, that's for sure.
They had him up there, Lofton and Reed. I mean, they had him up in Buffalo. God, they had receivers.
Yeah.
And Jamie Ford type receivers too. Guys with a little bit of size who like never looked like they were running fast, but just would glide. You watch the antelope films, right? And they were just moving, and it didn't seem like the legs were moving that fast. They're just gliding somewhere.
It's like me. Yeah.
Just like Dom Salvo. It's Dom Salvo-esque.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, whatever happened to the blog sites when everybody used to blog on?
The forum.
Yeah,
dude. I have been trying to crowdsource money to get back for years.
So you remember, Jamie, you remember Jim Luck, right?
Yep.
So he tells everyone he's got the forum on some hard drive somewhere in his house, and it would cost X number of dollars to put it up. And we have, for like a decade, we've been like, we will pay the money. We will give you every cent to put that up there, but he won't.
I promise,
if
we started a GoFundMe, every person who ever posted on that would at least have $5. I swear.
Man. Yes.
All you gotta do is get him an AutoZone gift card, and
the problem is that it's all stuck on an old CPU of a '99 Volkswagen, and it's hard to format that back to being able to be read by regular computers these days.
I think honestly, you know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna. I don't know why we've never thought of this. Let's just start our own damn forum, and we'll just start talking shit all over again. All of us will just start talking trash again.
Oh my God, that'd be fantastic.
Man, I really have to commend you big time. I've always looked at you like, how in the hell would you a center at your size?
Hey, I don't know. That was all I knew, man. I tried to do other stuff. I mean, you remember when I first came to the Outlaws, I was
quarterback.
I was quarterback, and then there was a point in time during practices, because I can't remember if it was someone was gone and I was the second wide receiver.
Yeah.
So Chris would put me out there. It must have been Jamie and I. Chris would put me out there because I knew the plays. Well, I didn't know I couldn't catch a damn cold, and I didn't know how to play the ball, but I knew what routes to run.
Football. You knew football, man.
And so I remember going out there. I mean, that was terrible. The stories I remember from playing quarterback there were not good. I mean, I remember I threw a pass one time to Darren, and I looked at Chris, and Chris just looked at me and then just shook his head. And that was about it for my time as quarterback. But I don't know, man. That's all I ever knew how to play, Jamie, was offensive line. And it came easy to me. It was I mean, just like you playing receiver, you were. I remember when we first started playing, especially in 8-man, people couldn't touch you. I mean, I was just talking to Dan 2 nights ago, actually, and we were talking about how many touchdowns you had that first year, probably the first 2 years, especially, and then the one with Dan, and then when you went and played with Dom. Yeah, it was like every other catch was a touchdown for you. You were just, and like Brent said, you were just gliding by people. I mean,
I don't mean this a bad way. I never saw his feet moving fast.
No,
I just saw his body going past people. And I think, if he, as much as
he wasn't trying that hard.
Well, that's right. Yeah,
he didn't have to.
Let loose 3 pit bulls. We'll watch those freaking feet move fast. But I'm telling you, Jamie brought size. I'm telling you, I think in the AFL, they had receivers before that, but they were, they were smaller guys. They just were. Jamie was the first guy with actually some height, and actually with you couldn't just lay him out. I mean, Jamie brought some meat to the game. Now, when the Stallions Seminoles figured that out and brought around 3 guys like that, that's when that really got amazing. Jamie was like the first one that was a 6'3" guy who had shoulders. I mean, that's what I thought anyway. Who could still run fast?
I just remember Jamie, and I don't know if we ever. This was 20 years ago now. It's just crazy to think that.
Yeah.
That first year we played 8-man, I remember if you were at a game, like if we we all met at that park and left. If you showed up and you were at the game, I remember having like a huge sigh of relief and being like we're okay. Jamie's here. He's good for 3 touchdowns. we're gonna be fine.
Yeah, but you know what? That's why I love y'all so much, because y'all never let me get down on myself, because I dropped a ton. Y'all never let me get down on myself.
I'm sure. I mean, let's be honest. I missed my fair share of blocks. Brent missed his fair share. Dom had his fair share of mistakes.
Fair share. Yeah.
But I don't know. Honestly, I don't remember, Jamie. I just remember you making plays like constantly. But that's a testament to who you were. I mean, even that first year when we played 11-man, when we were all babyface rookies, and you could have easily been pissed off at all of us for not knowing what the hell we were doing, and you had a little 5'6" leprechaun throwing you the football. Like, you just went out there and made plays still, and that's just who you were. I mean, that was what we loved about playing with you, because it was, again, you made it look so effortless, and we're just
really was.
Yeah.
Again, I can't say it right, and none of this is meant to be negative, but it was like the fastest fluid. He was like the fastest fluid thing I ever saw. That was just like moving. And Jamie, I got to appreciate this too, man. Hey, bro, you're like me. I missed a ton of blocks. If you're going to drop some, make the ones you catch fucking count. Like, if I'm going to miss blocks, the ones I'm going to hit, somebody might die. Okay, then that's the thing. If you're going to drop a couple, catch touchdowns, bro. And I mean, that was Jamie. And I don't remember him dropping many. If he says he did, he did.
Yeah.
Jamie Ford caught touchdown. I mean, I don't remember a lot of Jamie Ford 7-yard ends. I remember Jamie Ford in the end zone handing the ball.
Yeah, it was always go.
Yeah.
Hey, you'll be a
remember the signal was. It was the signal. Looked over at you. If I got that was we were going downtown.
Just like with you, Dom. You when we went to go play at Farmington.
Yeah.
You looked for me almost every
play. Yeah. Well, who else was I going to throw to?
Yeah, it was you guys. You were it.
The other team knew it too. I mean, they knew every play was coming to you. It was just, I mean, you got a guy that's 6'3", vertical through the roof, catch radius.
Remember the dome?
Yeah. Oh,
and you used to always, when we got like 10 yards in, you used to always say jump ball.
Yeah. That was actually what the play call was in the huddle, Tony.
Jump ball.
Other guys would be like looking at us. I'm like, just line up.
Right? Just get out of the way. Don't bother us.
The only thing that kept the Jamie Ford catch to less than 15 yards was the back of the end zone. Now, and to be fair, it was a perfect situation for Mr. Ford, because Dom Salvo only likes throwing touchdowns. So unless he's running for his freaking life, he only likes throwing touchdowns.
Which was what was happening in Farmington.
And Farmington, for sure, that's all you did was run for your life.
Yeah.
No, my biggest thing was our rivalry, the Outlaws and the Seminoles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was rival, man. Them games was hell.
They were. The one thing I remember, though, too, like about that, I was just thinking, because obviously we knew you were getting on, so I was just trying to think my Jamie Ford memories. After every one of those games, you always came up, gave us a hug, man, and like it was never more than just a game to you, obviously.
Y'all were family. I mean, we
right. I know, and that's what I was awesome about you, was that you came in and you just played your game, and that was it.
Yeah, we literally grew together.
So that was, but you're right though. They're tough ass games, man.
You wanted to win those games. Trust me. You'd be like, we can't lose this game.
Yeah.
Well,
it was fun to see both sides of that. I think Jamie, I mean, and 8-man, it was, I think all Seminole Stallions for Jamie, but I did both. And I think, Jamie, you knew everybody over there in black and gold every single time, man. I remember the time that I put those hands on Q's face allegedly. I showed up at the Outlaws. I showed up at the Outlaws post game and I shook a couple hands.
is that when they gave you the check?
Jamie was that way too. Jamie was that way too. Yeah. I came up and I punched a couple people in the face with the palm of my hand just to show them what a real one was. No, but that's how I do remember Jamie being like that. Jamie was another guy who, when I came to Seminoles, was pretty freaking cool to me. Hey, if there's a better chance to get a ball in the air to Jamie for a touchdown, he was going to be pretty nice to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate that, Brett. I really appreciate
it. And I don't know if we spent enough time on it, but anybody who's watching this, Jamie Ford was just elected to the
20. Please, go. I congratulate him, but I didn't tell him what for. So please, Brent.
It's like every time we still, it was quicker, and then we start talking about old times. That's what we do here, and I love it so much. But Jamie has just been given the best lifetime achievement award you can ever be given in semi-pro football, and I think that's a big deal. And I mean, the respect that comes with it is earned. And I think I was a little post like this on Facebook, Jamie. But the one thing, I mean, we were opponents, we were teammates. We got at each other a couple times.
Yeah.
Jamie Ford played all 3 of those seasons where the Springfield Bucks without Chris Lawson won 2 games in 3 seasons. He played those. Yeah. And I was trying to think of people who did. I think it's me, you, and Swick. Jeff Thomas maybe, but that's it. That I mean, to gut out, I mean, listen, we all got tired of it when we were winning and doing well. Jamie's a lifer, man. I honestly, Jamie's a lifer. If you can play 3 seasons like that and still play after that, tell me, Jamie, what the conversation was in 2003 for the Outlaws, because I know this. I was done. And Chris Lawson called me personally and said, coming back to the Outlaws. And I said, I can't make this tryout that you're having or whatever. And it was kind of worked out good because either could Tom Gaskins. So the old guys got to run their own 40s with nobody else looking. But I said, Chris, I'll be there. And he gave me that privilege. But I was done, Jamie. I don't know if you could have done another year if we would have went 8-9, 0-9, 1-8, whatever.
I just love playing. I love being with the fellas. It was just a joy to me.
Yeah.
I love being around y'all, man. It was just, I mean, we went to war. We battled with each other.
Yeah.
What did
we
you?
We wasn't winning no games, but we battled.
We played some tough games. It's just hard. Some guys won't do it when you can be the best team in the world, and you lose a lot of guys when you're really, really bad. She didn't lose Jamie. I mean, he every week showed up. Jason Swick. I showed up when I could. I mean, the guys who played for 10 years after that, I don't know how bad the worst teams you guys have ever played on, multiply it, but there was heart. There was heart. I'll say
it was real hard.
How many guys were on the team back then, Brent? What would be an average game, I guess?
Week 1 or week 9?
Well, I mean, I know how that goes. Home or away too, right?
Right. Yeah. Were you down there, Jamie, in St. Elmo for the last game of those Bucks? There were 14 of us, and we stood around in the JCPenney.
11 man.
You did it, and I did it, baby.
We had
stood
to
around in the JCPenney. Yeah,
we had to stay on the field.
Yep. Played Ironman football. I don't know, was I then 32? I have no idea. Yeah. Herb, I will give Herb Fulton this much credit. He gave me a play as fullback, and I ran the ball for about a 6-yard gain. And when I was tackled, I fell right on it in my stomach, and I didn't have enough wind to go back in for 3 more plays. But we got beat bad by the Tri-County Sharks down by.
Oh my God!
We got beat bad by them. There were 14 of us. 14 of us. Yep. We stood around the JCPenney parking lot until we thought we'd get there about 20 minutes before game time to see if anybody else would show up, and then we all voted on whether we'd go or not. And we went. Yeah. Jamie went. I went. Apparently about 12 other people went. And I mean, that was a hard day for us all to handle. If you had any amount of talent, that was a hard day to walk
Yeah. Well, and that's a testament to you guys too about sticking around and seeing it through. I mean, because think about that, Brent. You were thinking about hanging it up in 2002, and then you played another
2 decades,
7 years.
Wow.
Jamie, you the same. I mean, Jamie.
Jamie, you're the same way. Because what was your last year playing ball, Jamie?
Oh my gosh, what was my last year? Was it? I think it was 2006.
No,
you were
won a ring in 2000.
I played with you on those Seminoles, right?
Wait. It was 9 because I left. I left after that.
Okay.
We won a ring in 09, and we were both supposed to be done at that point. Yeah.
At the end of the day, Jamie started 1 year before me and quit 1 year before me. That's how that dished out. And Jamie, you can tell. I mean, we would have done it. I mean, we loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I even loved it those 3 years. But man, it's so much more fun when you're winning.
Not to cut you off, but guess who tried to get in touch with me to try to play now?
Terry Smith.
Now?
Terry, there you go. There you go.
We were just talking about it before you got on, Jamie.
There
He
you
was
go.
trying to get you to play?
Yeah.
Oh man. Get out there.
No.
Hey, you'd probably be captain, team MVP. So go get it, buddy.
Do y'all have any idea how much I weigh now?
I mean, I saw you put down about 30 wings at one time. I worked with so that was like 2 or 3 years ago.
I weigh
220.
And this is no joke. I weigh 295.
No, get out of here.
Play some O-line.
My right-handed guy.
You got that camera set up, at an angle that I believe it's possible. But Jamie, I got up to 337, bro. So
big.
Yeah. Hey, so did Terry want you to play guard? What the fuck did he call you for?
Yeah.
Hey, I told you, Brent. I watched some clips. He could start and be all league at guard for them. He could probably start and be all league at tight end too for them. It was rough to watch.
Hey, I used to love blocking though.
You did. Hey, you had to. I mean, especially coming from the Outlaws, coming from Chris's offense, like you had to block. Like it wasn't. You wanted to play. You had to block. Now, obviously, when you got to play with Dom a little bit and do some different things, it was very wide open. But even then, Pickett had you guys blocking some. I mean, it wasn't. You had that. What was the little play, Dom, where they would chip the end and
wham? We would
wham. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So you guys had stuff like that. I mean, you were never. Brent said it. You were never afraid to get your nose in there and get
think how much you'd love it at 295. You fucking would love it. I mean, Jamie Ford was just always a lineman trapped in the receiver's body. 3-4 years ago.
I remember when we played the Outlaws and I tried to crack back when I was with Farmington and I tried to crack back JT.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he ain't moved.
He's like a fire hydrant, man. He's like a fire hydrant. You ever run your car into a fire hydrant? Yeah. The car makes more damage than the hydrant, man. JT was.
That's JT.
God damn.
Yeah, those Farmington games were a lot of fun against the Outlaws.
Yeah. Oh man.
Did we play? Did we do a home and home? I remember coming to Farmington. Did you guys come to Springfield one time?
The only time I played you guys, the two of us played was against you, or was it Rotary?
Rotary.
Yeah, when you guys played them in Farmington, we weren't on the team yet.
Really?
Yeah, we didn't start until like halfway through the season.
Damn, I don't even remember
Carlos Battle at DT.
Dude, yeah.
Carlos Battle, man. Carlos Battle. That was a big dude.
It was a banger.
That's my guy,
man. Yeah, that was a fun season for stat wise, at least. We put up some numbers. But...
Yeah, that's that season was the infamous All-Star game.
That was, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the All-Star game where we were like, this is going to be a joke. And then by the middle of the second quarter, it was one of the hardest hitting games I think I've ever been a part of.
Yeah.
But one of the most fun games, too. Like, that game was a blast because at the end of it, we all just were like, what the hell what just happened? What are we doing?
We're out. Yeah.
Yeah. This is supposed to be for fun, and it was a blast, but
yeah. That was the Skittles versus the teams that had white uniforms.
Yeah, yes.
I mean, that was it. And it was 3 on the teams with white uniforms. I think it's Outlaws,
Basically
Macomb,
yeah,
and somebody else.
It was Farmington.
It was Farmington, Metamora,
Tazewell,
Pekin, Tazewell, maybe.
and Metamora. So it was
Jacksonville.
us.
Jacksonville, no. Jacksonville, yeah, Jacksonville.
I think we had
jerseys.
I think we had Jacksonville. Yeah, so it was us, Macomb, Jacksonville, and obviously it was mostly us and Macomb.
Yeah.
But they had, although Jacksonville did have what's his name, the younger Roberts brother who was a freaking Les. I think Les. He was
built, but Tim Jones was their best player.
Well, now, Tim and Zerkimer, Luke Zerkimer.
Zerkimer was good.
Yeah.
And Jamie, I'll never meant this as any offense, but one time I gave Josh Roberts a compliment for the job he did on you in that game. I mean, you're a stud. That's the day that I thought, and it's a compliment to you in this way. Josh was okay. That game, I remember Josh was begging for over the top help, and Chris Law said, "This is an all-star game, son."
You're getting it.
Precursor to that, though, is we went to Jacksonville a couple weeks before that in the regular season, and he probably had 6 touchdown catches on Josh Roberts.
Right. I'm sure, yeah.
That game was like, you remember that game? It was like 60-54 or something. I mean, it was just
a big game. Big game.
It was literally every play, and every play before the snap, they were like, you would hear him yelling, "He's going to 83, guard 83."
I mean, did you throw a touchdown to anybody else that season, Dom?
The only one I can think of would be the behind the back pitch to the running back. Do you remember that when we played Metamora?
Yeah,
I pitched it behind my back and went to the house. Yeah,
he did Patrick. He did Patrick Mahomes before Patrick.
Before, yeah.
It was a prayer, a wing and a prayer.
He loves that shit. He loves that. Yeah,
that was the highlight of my career. But yeah, no, it was all. I mean, like literally. I don't even remember the receivers that we had outside of you. It was just, I mean, Barnes's.
Oh yeah, the Barneses, yeah.
But I mean, they couldn't catch. It was that season. I remember we played. I can't remember where we were playing, but it was a road game, and the play literally, and I'm not exaggerating. I was scrambling for like 12 seconds, like the place, Tony, where you like run to the right and then you come back to the left. And I finally throw him a touchdown, and he comes back because they're like, "Go for 2," and I'm like, gassed. I mean, my hands are on my knees, and he walks up. He's like, "Why are you so tired? I was open for like 10 seconds. Go quicker. I was open the whole time." I was like, "I just ran, 20 yards."
The ball in the air doesn't expend a lot of energy for me, man.
Yeah, but when we played for Farmington, as soon as the ball was hiked, you had to run.
Oh, no.
I know. Yeah. We were running polecat at one point because it was so bad.
Well, now that I think about it, Jamie, you were well prepared for that through those 3 seasons. I never put those 2 things together till now. But yeah.
Yeah, but at least he had a little bit of talent at quarterback. Like how many quarterbacks played during those 3 years for the Bucks when you guys were terrible?
I know we had when Corey McMath played.
Yeah. We had Bruce for a bit. Finally, Bruce was too busy being law enforcement. And listen, I mean, it's hard to honestly the block. And I remember I brought up his name a couple weeks ago. It's hard to tell when the blocking was as bad as it was. We had some talent on the line.
Yeah.
We just were green. Kenny Bacon, and hey,
I remember that name.
And Kenny got killed, man. I mean, I see him at Little Flower games. He's got a nephew that played, and Ashton, who I coached. But Kenny, like I said, that one time he came to the huddle, he said, "God damn, motherfuckers, I'm gonna die out here."
I remember that. I remember reading that name in the paper in the box scores. That one, and then Steinkamp, Steinhaus, something. I don't know. Big tall dude. This is what I remember. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Jamie, were you with the Bucks on the good years, right? You were with the Bucks on those Midwest Football League years, right? And
yeah.
I didn't know a lot of those guys. Were you back there with Beardo?
Racine and all those.
Yeah. I missed those. Those would have been fun. Those? Yeah, no, I was 94, 95, 96. I bought my jersey. I've told this. Bought my jersey for 97, and then I got moved. My shift work changed down in Edwardsville, and that's why Tyrone Womack wore number 50 that entire season, brother. Because I bought that 50 jersey and couldn't come up and get it.
I remember Herb McMath. He quit on us during the season. Yeah. In the middle of the season, he walked off the field.
Yeah.
So
used to do that like once a week. Remember, Los would peace out like for a game. Remember the Jacksonville game when it got cold?
But this was the coach.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's rough. That's rough.
Yeah.
I gotta ask, what was your all the years you played? What was your favorite season?
Ooh. Well, I had my best season with you in Farmington.
Buffalo Bills 1990.
That probably was my best season, but I had some great seasons with the Outlaws.
Yeah.
Man, some great seasons.
What was the one you enjoyed the most though? Like from a team standpoint, like just like this was a great season, you know, like when you think back, like what was the year that you were like, man, that was a lot of fun?
My favorite year was the when we was in indoor.
Oh, convention center.
The Dome.
06.
Yeah.
That's every receiver's favorite year, Dom. Anytime they're inside, no elements, no wind, no cold.
Yeah,
that would have been the green and blue Stallions, right? We're talking that first
06
year.
Stallions. Yeah, I got him popped into the wall a couple times. I don't know how much I think he broke his wrist one game, catching up back shoulder. Yeah. And he still played the rest of the season with a broken wrist.
Bad mistake.
Yeah, caught the ball. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful play. I think it was against Tazewell. It was first home game of the season. So you played
home the season,
back shoulder in the end zone, caught it, touchdown, broke his wrist, and then played the rest of the season with a big old thing on his wrist. So
yeah.
Hey, Jamie, one of the things that we talked about a couple weeks ago, and I know Dom's heard it, and I brought it up because we were just talking about that split from the Outlaws to Seminoles, but from Tony and my perspective, I know he echoed this. And I know you played that Farmington year, first, but even in that year, almost, even though there was not a lot around you guys had this immediate rapport. I mean, we talked about how the Outlaws didn't have that again until later after the split. I mean, it took until Carlicker showed up. Dan fought through having a guy he could always count on. But I mean, maybe it was that season with Farmington. You guys talk about it, but I just know, and great. You guys got great. Later it was Sammy. Later, Carlos turned into a great receiver. But you two, it was immediately like you were thinking the same thing all the time.
Yeah, Dom, I don't know how he was on. We was on the same page, but it was like we saw eye to eye.
Yeah.
Every play, and then he gave me a signal to tap on the helmet.
Yeah.
And to go.
Yeah. Which was pretty much every play.
We just read each other so perfectly.
We did.
Jamie's got like a stick mark, Tony, but it's from his own hand. Yeah. Okay, like where we get those from hitting other helmets. Yeah. Jamie's got one right where this hand hits because every play
was a go.
Yeah. We spent a lot of time together too. I mean, on and off the field, it was we clicked right away, and it was I mean, we just saw the game the same way, and it was kind of like early on, you find those guys and they're rare that even though they're covered, they're not covered, right? They're open, right? If you just get the ball within, typically with Jamie, if I got the ball within like 5 yards, because he could go up, and catch a ball that was, most people couldn't get to, or, down low, wherever it was, he was able to get to the ball. So that was a huge benefit. But I mean, we were together, especially the first 2 seasons, Farmington and, the Stallions, we were together all the time. We would go to movies the night before games.
Right.
You were with me when I got my dog. We were just, and you were with me when I would try and use cheesy pickup lines on girls at the movie theater, and all that, all those fun times, And there was one time we went to a movie. I remember he was like, I think you were working at Chesapeake at the time.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm gonna pick you up. We're going to a movie tonight, and it was the night before a Stallions game, the 06 season. And he's like, what are we going to see? I was like, we're going to see that new Bernie Mac movie. And he's like, all right, yeah, that looks good, right? And there was 2 Bernie Mac movies out at the time. This was right around Valentine's Day, by the way. So I pick him up, we go to this movie, and we're in the theater. But he's probably going to remember this right when I start telling it. And it was all girls in the theater. And he's kind of looking at me like, what the hell is going on? And so I bought tickets to the wrong movie. It was this chick flick with Bernie Mac and Ashton Kutcher, and Ashton Kutcher's Bernie Mac's daughter.
Oh, yeah. You wanted to go see Mr. 3000, didn't you? Yeah. You wanted to go see Mr. 3000. Yeah.
So about halfway through it, he's like, man, they ain't playing any baseball in this movie. What the hell's going on? You know, and then we figured it out. Yeah, it was a bad deal, but we were together a lot, and you know, it's just when you have that chemistry on and off the field, it goes a long way.
Yeah. Well, and that's you know, that's kind of who he was too. Like I can remember. I mean, obviously, you played a lot of football games with Lorenzo Bruce. He was kind of your running mate, and I can remember that first year. Yeah, that first year when we played, when Dan was kind of, you know, that baby-faced rookie. Lorenzo would be the one kind of being like, give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball. And Jamie was always the one that was kind of like, hey, man, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be open. Like the calming presence, so to speak, to, again, us rookies, because you'd been there. You'd been through – you knew there was talent around you finally because you'd been through those 3 shitty seasons like Brent was talking about. And that was – and I think that was kind of what drew us to you right away too, as a vet and as a presence, as a leader, because – you just had that way about you, man, and you know, it never became too big. You never had any blow-ups like Brent had his blow-ups, but you were all
Well, there was one where I was the peacemaker. As long as we're on the subject,
I do remember. I was not at that game. I was not at that game.
Oh, Tony, you missed. You got fellas. I want you to talk about it, but I want you to know. After saving Dom's life that day, how much it hurt to watch you guys become best friends the next 5 years and beat us more than lost.
To be fair, I wasn't playing quarterback in that game. I was playing receiver.
What did you do?
I don't even remember. It was in Illiopolis. That's the only thing I remember. And I remember hiding behind Trent.
Against the Lafayette Lions, right?
Yeah,
it might have been. It might
because I missed it because I think
home game for us against Illiopolis.
My sister was getting married, and I remember calling Dan after the game, and he was like, "You can't miss any more games. This is," and I was like, "What happened when I wasn't there? Like, what in the hell?"
I think Herb played center, didn't he?
Yeah. Somebody did. All right, I gotta hear this because I've never heard the story from. I
don't remember what the problem was. I just remember I was playing receiver.
I'm gonna tell you what it was.
Okay, all right. He remembers.
I was being a diva. And I've always thought I was open when I wasn't. And then I always got mad when I knew we can beat teams, but we lost to them.
Right.
That was a tough one.
Yeah.
So I was being a diva, that's all.
Well, but here's the thing, Jamie. You were listen, I'm not gonna lie and say you never thought you weren't open. But when other people thought you weren't open, you were open, bro. Okay. Here's the thing. You want to talk. By the way, one thing I'll say about that incident, until me and Dom talked about it this year, because of how much you guys gelled later in your careers, I, in my mind, was convinced that was Dan Eck. I mean, remember, Dom, I said that. I was like, no, I broke up a fight between Jamie and Dan.
Yeah.
Dom's like, no, that was me, brother. That was me. I mean, and I'm like, no, it couldn't have been. And yeah, it was. I mean,
I think he was pissed off.
Good. Yeah. I couldn't believe that ever happened. And Jamie, you were open. You were open a lot more than you admit to today. Maybe not as much as you thought then, but when you were covered, brother, you were open. I mean, that's the simple fact of it. I mean, you were open. I wouldn't have thrown it to Dom. Did somebody throw it to Dom? Is that the problem?
I had a touchdown catch
threw
in
it to
that
fucking
game.
Dom? Dan, you should have.
Touchdown catch in that game.
Dan.
I knew how to get open. Listen, here's the deal, and you'll laugh at it. I was the Tony Carey before Tony Carey, because Tony Carey would just run those like quicks and just sit and then get a catch.
Get in the window.
An athlete, and he would take it to the house. I would just fall down. Yeah, that was a fun time playing wide receiver. I remember a little bit about that now because I remember he was pissed. We were coming off the field. I think Dan had thrown an interception. It was late in the game. It might have been right at the end, and he was yelling at Dan, and I jumped in and was like, "Man, shut the fuck up," or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he was like, I remember literally, I said that, and his eyes got big, and he was coming right at me, and I was like, I looked to the left, I see Brent, and I kind of hid, behind Brent. He came flying in, and
were we living together at that point? I mean, because I can't imagine giving a shit about saving your life at that point. But
no, I wasn't living with you. No, that was about a year before I moved in. Yeah.
Oh God,
man,
that's great. That was a tough one to lose, though, Jamie. And right, that one always is in my head. That Effingham game will never leave my head. It'll never leave my head. The ones that you had that you didn't get, right?
Yeah.
See, me and Jamie still eat on that shit. at 50 years old. We still eat on that shit every day.
Yeah. And I learned so much. I learned so much from Lorenzo Bruce.
Yeah,
I learned a lot.
Because I mean, what was his time frame of playing? Because I know he played in the 03 season with the Outlaws, and then I think he came back. He came back when we started playing 8-man and played like 1 or 2 games, but I don't remember him playing 11-man anymore after that. Like he was.
I never played with him. So
yeah,
he didn't play that long.
Yeah.
But Lorenzo, like us, Jamie, he was a green jersey buck, man. Like he was from back then. I remember he played a little running back for the old green jersey Springfield Bucks, and Lorenzo was Lorenzo could do a lot. If there was a Cordell Stewart comp, it might be Lorenzo. Honestly,
yeah,
he could run the ball.
Tony.
I bet if we stuck him under quarterback,
Tony.
Well, you never played with Lorenzo. You just admitted it. So it's Lorenzo.
So it's Lorenzo.
When I see this slash up here in the top left corner.
Yeah, right.
I tell you, it was Lorenzo. Jamie will say, even as we were coming into our own, Lorenzo was one of the talented guys everybody knew. You know, everybody knew who Lorenzo was. That's a fact. He was good for a long time.
Yeah,
we used to talk about him all the time when we first started playing together.
Yeah,
because he called him Ren.
Yep.
Ren. Yeah. I think we tried to get him to play with Farmington, or Herb was trying.
Probably, yeah.
Hey, how did you and Herb hook up?
You don't know that story, yeah. I filled out a interested player form or something on the Outlaws website, and I guess it was still hooked to Herb's fucking email, so I got a call from Herb, pretty quickly. And he was like, "Oh yeah, the Outlaws got a guy, but I got a team, and why don't you come play for me?" And I was like, "All right." And I never heard anything. In my head, I was like, "Well, let me see if the Outlaws reach out." And I never heard anything from the Outlaws. Well, yeah, because it went straight to Herb.
Because we never saw it.
Yeah. So like a week or so goes by. I was like, "All right, yeah, let's go." And I don't remember. I mean, I think the 8-man season had already been going, and so the first time. I can't remember the first time you and I met. I don't remember where we were at, but then we went out to the infamous game in Rotary, and the Outlaws were playing, and we were throwing the ball at halftime. These two jokers like to talk about that a lot. You all right?
Oh, it's so much fun. I mean,
I don't know what was going on.
I don't remember that.
Nobody knew.
Well,
because you wouldn't have known either of them, but nobody knew.
Say hi.
Hi. All right.
That's
I'm
Tony.
Going PG. I'm going PG now.
Yeah, we got to go
Brent.
PG.
Maybe PG-13.
That's Black Jesus.
Black Jesus.
Well,
I'm Beverly.
Hi, Beverly.
Football with these guys.
Do you like football, Beverly? Yeah.
Favorite players. That's right. There you go. Uncle or favorite.
Uncle.
That's right.
Do you make her watch game film with you, Dom?
No, not yet. No,
not yet.
What do we watch? We watch like Encanto and Encanto.
And I like watching Frozen.
Frozen, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've memorized that movie. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Me and Jamie played Frozen one year, Gary, Indiana.
Well, I don't remember too. Like my memory's just coming back around. Like that 2005 season, you guys played with Farmington, Dom and Jamie.
Okay.
You then turned around and came back and played 11-man with the Outlaws.
Yep.
Like that was, you guys still came back, and that's when Dom came. And I'm sure we've talked about it a bit before, but had to eat a slice of humble pie and willingly played receiver and safety and played quarterback too. Because I mean, Jamie, you probably don't know this, but I told Dom in one of the first episodes, he's actually got the record for longest touchdown pass in Capital City Outlaws history. He threw a little 1-yard check down to George Wilson, who took it 95 yards for a touchdown against Effingham, or not Effingham, Belleville. So
Belleville, which is much better than Effingham.
We could have used him versus Effingham, not the other person who lost us that game. But
were you at that game, the Belleville game, Jamie? You had to have been.
He had to have been.
That game was so rough.
They were so hot. It was so hot. They were so talented. We were so beat up. I mean, we probably only had 35 guys. I know we didn't have Brent or Brent was hurt or something.
No, I was there, but like So there were a lot
Herb played
of
offense. Herb played guard.
Herb played guard. Eric Angeli played guard, but then
Eric
he
Ansley
got
did
hurt.
play, yeah.
He got hurt.
I'm thinking of the Gillette game. You might be right, guys.
Yeah. No Businger.
Yeah.
No Bubba.
Yeah.
No Cody by then.
Yeah, I had broken ribs. I mean,
and their defensive line was
immense. They had a guy who played at U of I, and they were just
big.
Yeah. So I forgot you guys came from the Farmington team to play for the Outlaws again that summer, but that was the last summer we ever played 11-man, unfortunately. So
two things I'll say though. When you guys showed up to play catch at that 8-man game, what was funny about it, and Tony being a newer guy, anybody who'd played for a couple years, it's funny because nobody knew who Dom was.
No,
he could throw the ball, right? But everybody knew who Jamie Ford was, and he was out there playing catch with him, right? So Herb made a point. He got across, and now Dom is able to say, "Oh, I didn't really know what was going on. I just showed up." You knew, all right? you knew what was going on, and because everybody knew it was Jamie. And hey, I'm not gonna lie. Dom came into his own, became an amazing quarterback, but that was a big deal when Jamie showed up there in a green. We're not in a green jersey, both those guys. The other thing I'll say is this, and Dom, revisionist history is easy, and we talk about and Tony said it. I'm not, eating a little humble pie, whatever. Revisionist history after the split and after everything got so competitive was easy. I knew Chris Lawson like a brother, and Dan is an amazing quarterback. That was a tough decision. Dom could sling it, and everybody knew it. Dan was the winningest quarterback we had in 10 years, and everybody knew it. And I mean, it was just, what do you do? I don't know. I probably do what Chris did, but it's not that, Dom showed up and couldn't start for us. It was like Chris, I remember his heart ached over it. He hadn't had a quarterback for 20 years, and he had two. That's a true story.
And I know that hurt. I know Dom. I know it just ate at Dom because he loved being a starter, and I know it just had to eat at him.
Right.
Yeah,
maybe a little. No, like when I came back from retirement because the Outlaws had an awesome new right tackle and they weren't going to miss me at all. Yeah, that didn't bother me a bit when I played.
Brent.
I got to show off my athletic ability as a safety. I got to play receiver.
Hey, you have two infamous plays though, because you had the 95-yarder, and then you had the
double reverse pass,
the hook and lateral.
Yeah.
You had that one touchdown that I still swear you caught, and the guy called you out of bounds or down or something, and we just got totally screwed that game.
Yeah.
That
was for me it was that season was I was just having fun. I it was started, but I was also dumb enough to think, I could play some other positions. No.
But the Outlaws were deep then. I mean, they really were. That coming up from 03 on, it was the first time we could even sniff what the Steel did in 05, where they were 2 to 3 deep everywhere, and everybody showed up and bought in. I mean, you can go. I can go pull the program now and look at all the faces on that and understand how many people made every game and didn't ever start. They did it for special teams, and they showed up to practice. So having a guy who could start any, having I don't know how you feel about it, but to me, it's like a Mitch Trubisky. What are you going to do with him in Pittsburgh? Fuck, he should have started. Now, I mean, he could start on 25 teams in the NFL, but they picked a guy, right? So having a guy like that there, had Dan ever been hurt, would have been the greatest thing that we ever did.
It helped me a lot, though, honestly. There's been a lot of talk about that season and the games I played 11-man, and it was like, and Tony, you can probably attest to this, right? Because you and I are a lot alike on wavelength on the way we think about football and stuff, but it gave me a different perspective from I was out there as a quarterback, but I was playing receiver, right? And so I was able to kind of understand soft spots better, where a receiver could sit down in a zone, different things like that, which benefited me a ton whenever I finally, took back 8-man when I went back to the Stallions, right? And then Seminoles and all that. I just, that's part of the reason why Tony Carey and I clicked so well, because he was doing a lot of the things that I didn't know about until I played that position. And Dan and I talked a lot, we think the same way, right? And so I would always be like, hey, if Jamie's not open, I'm going to sit, just hit me for a quick 3 or 4 yards, right? So
right.
Play.
Right.
But yeah, it was. I mean, I
If
learned.
only Tony Schiffman could throw the ball, Dan Eck could have been Don South. Okay, that's.
I never wanted. I went into not to. We're not talking about me. I went into that semi-pro football wanting to be a fullback. Like the only reason I played quarterback was because I still remember I could throw a football back then. Now it hurts to throw it 10 yards, but I could throw a ball like if I'm playing catch with Dom, I could throw a tight spiral 35 yards and hit him in the hand. So I was like, I can throw. And I remember at that first tryout when there were 60 guys, Chris got up there and said, "Can anybody throw?" And I looked around and nobody put their hand up.
Where was that?
I was like, I can throw. And he was like, "You're a quarterback." And I was like, "Whoa, what?" And I was like, "No, I'm not."
And they slapped 17 on you.
Well, I picked 17. I don't know why I panicked and picked 17. But it's a good thing because then you had it. Yeah. But then I just remember Dan came the next practice. Dan showed up and threw like a tight 35-yard rope to maybe even Jamie Ford running a post or something. And I just remember looking at Chris and being like, "I can play fullback." And then he was like, "You're hired." So
how did you end up playing center?
That's what I played. So growing up, that's what I played. And then Rick Brown told me at that tryout, he said, "You'll never play offensive line in this league." And I was like, "All right, whatever. I don't really want to," because that's all I'd played. And then we went to Lafayette, and heading into that week, big oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Dave Robertson.
Right? Dave Robertson.
Big Dave wasn't going to be there because he was our center. And I remember going into that game, and Chris was panicked because we didn't have a center. And I was like, "Chris, I played center in college. Like, I can play center." And he was like, "Okay." And I went out there and had a good game, and then that was it. I was like, I remember
because
after that game.
I promise you, me, Big Rich, and Shatobius weren't snapping fucking shit.
Right.
Trying to block somebody. There's no way that was ever gonna happen.
And I think you know, we had Boostinger, and I think that game we went to Lafayette with just the 5 of us. Like, we didn't have Kirkendall.
Maybe Angeli. I don't know. Maybe
I don't think Angeli was playing at that time, but we didn't have a couple.
Rich Reed came
and
in.
Rich was a great kid, but just wasn't prepared for
that.
He
wasn't ready. Yeah.
And so I just remember going to Chris and being like, "Dude, I played center," and then that was that. And then that was it, Jamie. And then I was happy, you know, because I was playing. It was kind of like Dom was talking about, you know, I just wanted to be out there playing, and up until that point, I played some special teams, and I was like the second fullback and did some stuff, but then I got to actually be out there every snap, and I loved it. So
like 12 years entrenched at center.
I know Outlaws had some hellified corners and safeties. Y'all had Swick, y'all had Greg Rolfe, y'all had
George, till we figured out he was a running back.
Yeah.
I still don't believe George played corner. I just can't see it.
I'll tell you what.
I know I've heard stories, but
look at the plot chart on the field that day, and you'll believe that half the field was never touched.
I believe it, but you see him, he's that big old cock.
And then honestly, Craig had the other half, Tony, and you remember that game. The only thing they ever completed was between the hash marks, and we had great linebackers. But they never threw deep on us once. No. It was just dink and dunk, and those guys.
Well, that was the game.
Quarterback from Purdue, right?
Right. That was also that second game. Rick Brown was gone, and Tommy took over the defense, and he finally was smart and said, "Hey, we got this kid named Glenn Weatherford who played safety in college. Let's move him from offense, and let's move him to now we got Swick roaming free. We got Glenn playing in the box, and so we played too high, and then they couldn't do squat."
Man,
yeah,
that makes a difference.
Jamie, I cannot wait to see you in October. You talk about guys who changed the game, and I don't know if you guys have thought about this, but think back to the very first year you played 8-man, and think about the guys who played cornerback, right? And then think a couple years forward, right? So the Outlaws had to go out and get guys like Casey Sullivan, you know, guys like John McGrath. Those cornerbacks were all 5'8" and fast.
Yeah.
But Jamie Ford came along, and they couldn't defend that. We had to go find guys who were 6-something.
You had to get length.
Jared Powell. I mean, we had to find guys who might match up with a guy like Jamie Ford. So the wide receivers got bigger first. I mean, that's a fact. And Jamie was the lead guy on that. Carlos Perry moved from DB to wide receiver.
But y'all had like I said, Glenn Rutherford, he was physical.
Glenn was great.
Well, and you had to. I mean, you knew when you played Jamie, he was good for at least one. Like at minimum, he was going to get you on one, right. Maybe two, and then you just had to kind of hope for the best on all the others that you could get a hand in there and do something. But I mean,
those back foot put it up throws that Dom could put to Jamie. They were the only points Farmington ever scored, and every team in the league had a 5'8" to 5'10" DB trying to defend that. And then you fast forward 3 years, and what you see is that the Seminoles have Tony Carey, who's a taller guy, right? Carlos Perry isn't playing defense anymore, right? But you also look at the DBs in that league, and you say, hey, there's not an under 6-footer out there anymore on a team with a winning record. So I don't know. I mean, here's the thing: you talk about guys who changed stuff. Jamie changed stuff, man. I mean, they had never seen Jamie. What are you, 6'3"?
Yeah.
They had never seen a 6'3" guy who could beat everybody in the end zone, or a 6'3" guy that could run. I'll hit the flag in the back of the end zone, and you just throw it up, and I'll get it.
Right.
That league never saw that, and it changed the league.
Yeah. Right. No, absolutely.
I mean, they never saw a 140-pound center either.
Shut up, Brent. Such a dick.
I mean, when we played Metamora that year, Farmington year, they were tripling him. Packingham Pack was their quarterback, and he was playing safety, and they had Robinson guarding Jamie. They had Chris Robinson. They had Pack kind of bracketing him at the top, and then they had another guy that was following him. And he still went for probably 3 touchdowns, and I don't know. That was the
go back. I just saw this clip on social media today, and Dom and Brent and Jamie. It encompassed exactly who Jamie was for that 5-year window in the AFL. It was Randy Moss's first touchdown in New England when he just lines up and runs all the way across the field, and Brady just throws it up and he catches it in front of a linebacker, in front of a safety with the corner trailing, and just right in there. And that was Jamie. You just, I mean, throw. Yep. You could just you threw it up. I knew when he played with the Outlaws. I knew when we called fake 32 X fade. Yeah, it was a touchdown.
X fade.
Yeah, I knew that was going to be a touchdown.
Jamie just stood around. Jamie just stood around, and he heard X fade, and then his ears perked up. He jumped right in the middle of the huddle. Man, he was all excited to go.
But it was again. I wish we had. I wish so bad that we kept statistics those first couple of years, because it's just what you are more than deserving of the accomplishment that you just achieved, getting in the Hall of Fame for your play, for your ability. But I wish we could go in there and tell them exactly just how many touchdowns you freaking had, because Lord knows it was a hell of a lot. And I wish we had those numbers to go back through and find them all. Because
now that's a good question. It's got on there. It says create your bio and your profile. I don't know what to say.
You want me to write it?
Oh.
I don't know what to
Hey, teams, every time you were all league, you could put that you fought to a draw with Dom Salvo one time on the sideline. So you're 0-1 on that. As far as stats, hey, they don't care. Tell them how long. And Jamie, for me, you were as great as anybody for a long time. But we had a lot of guys like that who were great for a while. I respect your admission into this Hall of Fame because how long you did it and how much you still loved it for the bad teams you played for. I mean, because that's for me, that's what it was to me. And when I went in, Stacey Moore had played more semi-pro games in Springfield than anybody ever had. And I think, probably only because you quit 1 year before me, that was never your title. But you probably played maybe 4 less games than me in our whole career. Brother, that's like 200 and something games, and half of them were with teams that couldn't have fought their way out of a paper bag. That's love, bro. I mean, that's love.
Yeah. A lot of games with me too, and I know I get a lot of credit. I shouldn't. I would just throw the ball up. Half the time I didn't even see him. I just knew where he was.
Dom ran for his life.
Yeah. First Farmington season was rough, but like there was a lot of times where I would be literally face down in the ground and I would just hear that it was a touchdown. I didn't know he caught it. I just threw it.
Let me guess. He tapped his helmet at the beginning of the play.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it was either post route, hitch and go, fade.
Yeah.
Those were the 3 Farmington routes. The playbook expanded, with the Stallions, but that back then.
Yeah, not much. You had a running game. You had a running back with the Stallions.
Tony, being on the other side of it, and as much as I was here for one season, how many times do you see in your mind that picture of Jamie running down the field? His legs are like 3 yards apart, and he's catching the ball right here.
Yeah,
and I mean, like, because he beat the guy. I mean, he beat the guy, and that guy was supposed to be fast, right? I mean, like the Jamie going up and grabbing for it's one thing, but I just always remember Jamie being a yard and a half ahead of a guy with his that big old gazelle fucking stride.
Yep.
Ankles are farther apart than I am tall, and catching the ball in the breadbasket because that's just how he. I think you hypnotized him into thinking you were slow, and then you were just gone. I mean, I swear to God.
That's what Danny Womack said. He said one day he came to a practice and he asked the corners, "How are y'all letting him beat y'all? He looks slow." So the next practice he got on me, and I just walked right past him.
Right. It's the stride, man. It's the stride.
It's amazing. It was a different type of receiver than I ever saw.
There's Brent. I can't remember if you shared it with me. I'm trying to look on Facebook. Isn't there a picture of Jamie going up and catching a touchdown?
Yeah, it's the only one. It's the only one where he just wasn't a yard past a guy who thought Jamie was slow and just got to catch it with his entire body and hands because they underestimated him and he was 5 yards ahead of him. I mean, I just remember Jamie having the longest strides I've ever seen in football, and that whole chop your feet shit, that was nothing to him. I mean,
I didn't know chop my feet,
right? And he would just be gone, and it wasn't even like a big move at the line of scrimmage. He'd just start running, and then he'd just glide. And those dudes their feet were moving twice as fast, and the next thing you knew, Dom had dropped one right here, and that guy was about 5 yards out. It was crazy. It was crazy. I never knew a guy who could be that fast with that few steps.
Right.
Now, Brett, did y'all as the Outlaws, did y'all play a team called Dupo Fury?
Remember them? They were on the cover of the Rawlings magazine when they were trying to sell gear that year. Yep.
Oh.
Yep. Dupo Belleville. Dupo.
Was that Belleville?
No, it was Dupo. Was a different team.
Oh, it was different. Oh gosh, I don't think we ever played them. I don't remember playing them.
Yeah, never heard that name.
They were black and white. Dupo Fury. They were so good
you
one
say
year.
TVs were black and white back then? Is that how long?
Yeah, they were. They were. They're my racist granddad used to say they're all colored today. But anyway,
Wow.
The Dupo Fury were in a little town called Dupo, and the Belleville Justice grew out of that. But Dupo, in the old Cougars, Macon County Eagles, Bucks, Decatur Bears, MFL were untouchable, and Rawlings was trying to sell gear to high schools and small colleges and put that semi-pro team on their cover. Correct, right, Jamie? I mean, they were good. When you drive by when you drive towards Cahokia around that interstate loop around St. Louis, the field you see to the right on the Dupo exit is where we got our ass beat many a night.
I've never.
Man, they was real fast.
They were good. They were good.
Dupo Fury.
Jamie, just one thing to remember: I always get a jersey out on every episode, man. You gutted out 3 years of this shit, brother. All right, and I mean it was not easy. It was not easy, man. Yeah,
How are you still holding on to those?
Oh, bro,
he's a pack rat.
That every night.
Hey, he's
a pack rat.
Get over here to my basement because I mean I got both of them. Both of them cost me $50 because Gillette had to make me pay him to get them, man.
He sleeps those every night.
I don't want to know what you do in those jerseys when no one's at home, Brent. Slide that sucker on.
Yeah. Same thing I did 20 years ago. Not hit a goddamn thing.
Not do anything. Nice.
Oh man. Hey Jamie, congratulations, brother.
Yeah, Jamie,
I really mean it.
Congrats, man.
Man.
Yeah, congrats. Thank you for coming on, man. I'm looking forward to. I'm not gonna be able to make it just because we're in the middle of our season, but I'm gonna watch your induction, man, and
I'll FaceTime him.
Yeah.
Live.
Yeah.
Dom, you gonna be out there, man? You gonna be out there, Dom?
Dom said he's going. That's awesome.
I wouldn't miss that for
Jamie,
the world.
Thank you for making Dom a better quarterback too. I mean,
Hey,
thank you.
We both made each other better.
You did. You got. Hey, that's the truth. That's
You
the
really
truth.
You made me more better than I made you. Let's be honest. But yeah, I mean, it was great playing with you, man.
You both would be dead if I didn't step into that fight. So I'm going to take all the credit for that.
That's not even true. I would be dead. I would be dead.
I would be dead.
I know better than that. But man, yeah.
I wasn't gonna do nothing to him.
Oh, you were going to kill him. What the fuck are you talking about? You were going to kill him.
He would have killed me, but he used to yell at me like that quite a bit. I mean, that was those guys, all those guys used to get after my ass, and it was rightfully so, right? And that's why we were successful.
Because we were divas and we all wanted the ball.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
That's what good receivers want the ball.
You guys eventually completely gelled and had the same mindset, just like me and Tony never had. But it was great, man.
I mean, it's
I just don't know how Tony did it all these years.
I'm a very patient man, Jamie. I'm a very patient man.
It's the same thing.
I loved. There was nothing. Aaron Businger and I used to take great pleasure in pissing Brent off. Like, I mean, we took so much pleasure in just riding him so much and busting his balls, and it was. But again, like
one more semi-professional career that I can take credit for, and that is fine with me. You motivate in different ways. Okay? Yeah. I saved Dom's life. I motivated Tony and Aaron to be the players they are today.
Hey,
that's fine. The guy
was you were, but again, and we kind of alluded to this, Brent. You were one of a kind, and Jamie, you were also one of a kind, and you guys were. Jamie, you were a great teammate. Brent, I know we joke and all that, but you were still a great teammate. And so,
pound for pound, Tony, best center I've ever seen.
Well,
John Salvo, you are the best quarterback that did not start a game for a team I played on that I've ever seen. And Jamie Ford is probably the only guy.
You started for the Seminoles.
I know, but I did that for a season, and we all knew why. Jamie Ford is probably one of the few people who would. Jamie, I don't know if you did it to keep feeling young. I did. And I don't know if you did it because you loved it. So, I mean, maybe we could have went 1-8 for 10 years, but I know Jamie Ford would have showed up for the coin toss. He'd have been there. He'd have been there to get his ass whipped by Racine 63-0 just to play the game. And that's I got a lot of respect for that. So, I love you guys.
Yeah. We'll have some fun in October.
Definitely.
All right. Gonna be a good
All
time.
right, Jamie, congrats again, man. We'll see you guys.
Love you, James. Thanks, brother.
Take care, bro.
Take it easy.
See ya.
Yeah.
Yeah.